Warframe's grind is repetitive, and I think that's fine. Let me start by saying this clearly. These are just my thoughts and feelings, not a statement about what Warframe is, and definitely not about what it should be for everyone. Warframe is a repetitive game. It's grindy. You run the same missions on the same tile sets, fighting the same enemies, hoping a drop finally shows up. Most people say that like it's a flaw, and honestly, I don't really see it that way. At this point, I've been playing Warframe for years. I'm well past the stage where everything feels new. Most systems don't surprise me anymore. Most missions don't demand my full attention. And strangely enough, that's exactly why I still play. For me, the repetition does something specific. It calms my mind. I didn't always understand why. At first, I thought it was just distraction, something to occupy my attention. But it doesn't feel like zoning out, it feels like narrowing in. There's a difference between escaping your thoughts and giving them less room to echo. Warframe's repetition doesn't shut my brain off, it gives it fewer places to run. There's something comforting about loading into a mission where I already know the rhythm, a survival where I know how the pacing works, a defense where I've seen this tile set dozens of times, an endless run where I can leave whenever I feel like it. That predictability matters more than I expected. A lot of games demand constant alertness, new mechanics, new systems, new things to track. Even when they're good, they ask something from you every minute you're playing. Warframe doesn't always do that. Sometimes it just lets me exist inside the loop. Movement becomes muscle memory. Bullet jump, slide, clear a room, reset. I'm not thinking about how to play anymore. I'm just playing. Late game Warframe gives you a lot of power, but it also gives you something quieter, familiarity. Even the grind feels different at this stage. I'm not farming because I need everything. I'm farming because I've chosen something to work toward. A forma here, a weapon I want to finish, a frame I feel like revisiting, not mastering. That choice changes the texture of repetition. Min-maxing is a huge part of Warframe. You can spend hours tweaking mods, optimizing stats, squeezing out efficiency wherever you can. And I've done that. I've stared at mod screens for way too long. I've chased breakpoints, tested builds, and optimized loadouts down to tiny percentage differences. But late game teaches you something important. You don't always need the perfect build. Modding stops being about power and starts being about intention. I'm not asking what's the strongest version of this. I'm asking what feels right to use today. Sometimes that means an inefficient build. Sometimes it means leaving a slot unoptimized on purpose. Late game gives you the freedom to stop proving anything, and that freedom makes the grind feel optional, not compulsory. Sometimes good enough clears everything I actually want to do. Sometimes the difference between optimal and comfortable just isn't worth the mental effort. That realization takes a lot of pressure off. I don't need to chase the meta every session. I don't need to re-optimize every mod slot. I don't need to turn every mission into a calculation. Sometimes I just want a loadout that works and feels familiar. Short bursts of grinding are enough. I'll log in, run a few missions, maybe level a weapon, maybe test a build, maybe just play something I already enjoy. There are sessions where nothing important happens, no big drop, no breakthrough, no progress I can really measure, and somehow those are the sessions that feel the best because I didn't log in to achieve something. I logged in to settle, and then I'll log out. And somehow that helps my brain slow down. When my hands are busy with something repetitive and familiar, my mind stops racing ahead. There's less room for overthinking, less room for spiraling into things that don't have clean answers. I think repetition gets a bad reputation. We associate it with burnout, with wasted time, with doing something wrong. But repetition without pressure feels different. In Warframe, nothing bad happens if I stop mid-goal. The mod will still be there. The blueprint can wait. The build doesn't expire. The grind doesn't punish me for stepping away. It just stays there, unchanged. And for me, that's what makes it calming. I don't think this kind of repetition is for everyone, and I don't think it's always healthy, but I do think there's value in having something that asks very little from you while still letting you feel present. I understand why Warframe's grind turns people away. I really do. But from a late game perspective, the repetition isn't something I tolerate. It's something I return to when I want structure without stress and progress without urgency. and that's enough.